Greetings from the 50 by the sea, Khan Residency's rooftop. Today is the 10th of the month of April in the year of 2025 according to the Gregorian calendar. Ladies and gentlemen, I thought I will do a small clip today. Hopefully begin a few more. One of the most frequently used three letters is RIP, rest in peace. And people of our age, the old, always very familiar when funerals take place. The concept of RIP began in the 8th century by the Roman Catholic Church in Latin and further advanced to a greater level in the 16th century, again by the Catholic Church. But originally it was not so. But ladies and gentlemen, before reaching the status of rest in peace, we forget to live in peace. That's what's lacking in the world, to live in peace. And first and foremost, before living in peace with one another, you have to live in peace with yourself. Actually, the conflicts that we have most often is not with your partners or society or your wife, your husband, your children. The conflict you have is with yourself. Enemy within sometimes struggles many times to reconcile to the reality of peace of mind. This is where I understand many things when it comes to the peace of mind. The consciousness is very important. And when we see the communication, the language is paramount important. Among the oldest language is the Dravidian or the Tamil language, which is spoken in southern part of India and in Sri Lanka. And the next is the Grecian, Latin, Mandarin, and the Hebrew. But the uniqueness of the Hebrew language is very wonderful. Because in the Hebrew language, compared to all the other languages, read from right to left. Most of the languages are read from left to right. But the words are read from right to left. Sentences are read from right to left. But the letters in a word of a Hebrew language are read from left to right. So, if you say something word like father, and we know it is read from left to right. But in the Jewish language or the Hebrew language, the language is written from the right to left, or the spoken or read from right to left. But the letters in a word is read from left to right. So, ladies and gentlemen, the uniqueness of this language is it captures something very unique, which in your consciousness. In our brain has two hemispheres, the right brain and the left brain. Left brain is where your rationality, your numbers comes. The right brain is your emotions, your relationships, emotional intelligence, things like that. But sometimes we know when we speak the language, if you are from Asian or from whatever the other country, you have original language. Sometimes if you are Chinese or Indian, whatever the language, you think in Chinese and speak in English, then there will be issues for communication. But the uniqueness of countries like us, Sri Lanka and India, is British gave us the language. So we think in English and speak in English. But if you think in Sinhalese and speak in English, there will be communication errors that would surface. So that's why the Hebrew language is so unique. It covers both the right brain and the left brain, rationality and emotionality, both in communicating. It brings the numbers into the value of the words and the sentences. And when it is spoken, there is value in the words. Ladies and gentlemen, what is before us is live in peace. Living in peace, language is very important. That's where you communicate. That's where all kinds of problems, misunderstandings, and all kinds of challenges for living with one another in peace comes. If you speak the right words at the right time, at the right way to the right people, there is peace and harmony. That is what is lacking in the world today. God's blessing to you all, ladies and gentlemen.